Hello and welcome back to Late Age Piconye. It is summer in year 1 and we have research in blood magic completed, which is very nice. We're actually going to go ahead and add up 3 levels of conjuration after our construction in blood magic, and there are a few things this gives us. It gives us all of the low level conjuration things that you like to see, like Summon a Hawk. We don't have air mages, but it also gives us the animal summons, which are good for siege chaff. And the big things you get are at Conjuration 3. There are two main things you get, but our specialty ones that we get are the herd of buffalo, tigers, lions, elephants, all of these really great nature gem sinks that'll be good for siege chaff early on. And then, of course, the two main things everyone gets. It's Summon Earth Power, Summon Phoenix Power, Power of the Spears, all three things that we can cast very easily on our Piconye Sage Priests and in our communions. Summon Earth Power is really great for the communions because it gives you Reinvigoration. Power of the Spheres will just bump up all of their magic paths, and then Phoenix Power is going to bump up their flames, which is good for a lot of the people, especially the Fire 2s. We can just have them running solo, bump them up to Fire 3 with Phoenix Power, and then we can use these guys to just really spam out Ignite Arrows. The other thing that you get are all of the lesser elemental summons, which are really good. You get earth elementals, water, air, and fire elementals, all very good for a pitched battle that you can just dump your gems into and make sure that you win it. But the water elementals are especially good because you can use them to expand underwater, and they'll be able to do it really efficiently. They regen, they do a lot of damage, and they're just generally pretty good against the underwater troops. And the reason that's important to think about is our next notification. Gabriel, the Piconye Sage Priest, has found a magic site, and that magic site is the Azure Academy. This gives you an extra water gem, which is nice to see, but the main thing is it gives you 2 water mages. The Initiate, which is Water 1, with Gift of Water Breathing. That means that we can take some of our landlocked troops and bring it underwater. And then the Azure Mage, which is, both these are pretty solid researchers. They don't really hold up against our Piconye Sage just because it's such a good researcher, but the fact that we have amphibious Gift of Water Breathing water mages is very nice. We don't have a national way to get underwater unless we forge items, and these guys at Water 2, they'll be able to summon lesser water elementals and really hold the front line and expand against some of these easier provinces, like these Shamblers here, be able to expand with water elementals into some of the water provinces. And much like our cave system, where we mostly have it to ourselves, we can get this lake mostly to ourselves since there aren't a lot of water-faring nations. And in fact, there's a little bit of a land border here. It's not super obvious since it looks like you can probably pass through South Dagod and Endless Ocean, but in actuality, there's a bit of a river considered here instead of a connection between the waters. So we can probably control both of these lakes, and if somebody else grabs one of the lakes, then at least we have the other. So that'll be something to plan for, and part of the reason we're doing conjuration. And we have a lot of people site searching. Next up, we have the Gervillian Wall and the Stone Circle. Again, very, very great sites to find. The Gervillian Wall gives us a really great fortification right here in our cap circle. It bumps up our commander point bonus. This was the province we already had a temple and lab, which is just amazing. So we can get even more of these Piconye Sage Priests. We can start recruiting our national troops here. Just a wonderful site to find. It doesn't cut off any of our other Sage Priest production sites either by taking resources. So it's just a great site. And the Stone Circle gives us Woodhinge Druids, not something we're really looking for since we have good nature already. And it also gives you a nature gem, which is not something we'll shy away from. It's always good to have more nature. Next up, Raccoon captured 17 good blood slaves. This actually bumps us up above 50, so we can empower our first blood hunter. And then we have our battles. A battle in the Shade Forest against Utgard. If you remember, this is the forest that took the independence last time. It's just a bunch of body ethereal defenders and a stack of crossbows, and we're fighting their PD. You'll notice there's a lot more of these archers here than you'd expect from a PD, but that's because Utgard has recruited a few of these, so some of these losses are straight to Utgard's forces. And these 11 piercing damage at range doesn't really do anything to our defenders. It's not going to poke through, and then our crossbows outrange them, so we get this first devastating volley before they fire their shots. It's going to be a very, very good fight. We've already routed one of their stacks of front lines, and then again, our crossbows routed both of the front lines before they really got a hit off on our defenders. And we've got a full route, and the province defense is no more. So yeah, we took out 12 of their archers. 6 of them routed, so they may still have them, but we'll take them out in the next turn. And then we have the battle in Perina, which this is our main stack that we've had walking around Utgard, waiting for them to actually make a move. And we walked over to this lovely heavy cav and crossbow province. Both troops you do not typically want to find in indie provinces or in expansion, and it's just a province made up of those two, which is not fun. But on this side we have a bunch of body ethereal defenders, a bit of a communion, and some crossbows, along with a line of Baculites, which will be able to run forward and all body ethereal hold the line. You'll see these heavy cav end up meeting with our defenders. They're all body ethereal. This is really the ideal flank that they could have run into. And our communions here are going to be casting Claim Life, which is very good against heavy cav. Claim Life and heavy cav, they don't have good MR, they don't have a lot of health, but they do have a lot of protection and they do have a lot of damage, which are very scary things. But with Claim Life, we'll be able to kill them almost every time we cast it. And our crossbows here should be able to whenever this heavy cav gets massacred by our crossbows and Claim Life, should be able to win a 1v1 on their crossbow stack. There is a lot of crossbows here, so we did get a high roll, which is part of the reason we've been waiting to take Perina, but we'll be able to fast forward as they slowly get picked apart. We did take a few losses. You expect to take losses against heavy cav. But our Baculites even got back here. You'll see the red lines means that the Blood Vengeance is proccing and damaging these crossbows, and we've got a full rout. So yeah, in that battle, we lost 13 of our Baculites, which for 60 troops, 13 of them are heavy cav, and then 43 of them are crossbowmen. That's very acceptable losses. And then we have a battle in the Endless Caverns. This is a bit of an interesting fight. We've got a bunch of these undisciplined Bakemono Sho that are going to run forward and get buffed by our Sage Priests, body etherealed, and then on this side we have a large stack of cavemen. There's a little bit more than we expected from the scouting reports, and these cavemen are a little bit scary. They do 28 bludgeoning damage, 8 attacks, so sometimes they miss, but 28 damage, that'll be able to kill most things in one hit. They have high hit points at 23, so they can take a few hits. If you have fire or cold resistant mages going off, they're actually resistant to both of those types, but no protection, so as long as you can hit hard enough, you can kill these guys pretty fast. They also have low attack density because they're size 4. And we've got all of our Bakemono Sho here rushing forward, and we'll see how this fight goes. Like I said, these Bakemono, they have low hit points, so one hit kills most of the times with these cavemen. But they do have 15 damage piercing, which is really nice. And you'll see as their front lines get in here, they just absolutely destroy these Bakemono. The only reason our mages really got off is a few of these defenders rushed forward to hold up and distract these cavemen. But at 28 damage, they'll be able to kill our defenders even in just 1 or 2 hits. But all of our Sage Priests get off, a lot of these Bakemono get off, and let's rewatch this and go over a few of the things that we can fix, a few of the things that went wrong. And the first major thing, it seems a little counterintuitive, but I think we just brought too many of these Bakemono Sho. The reason is, as we're casting Body Ethereal here, they just can't get enough of these. They don't get that critical mass. They don't have like a large concentration of Body Ethereal as they pass by here. And another thing is these defenders, they also take a few of these body ethereal targets, and they also kind of wiggle around these stacks of 5 as they're passing through all of these bodyguards, and make it even harder to just get that critical mass of body ethereal on a good clean tile of 5 Bakemono Sho. So that did happen, and that caused this front line to get forward. You'll see whenever they start fighting, the body ethereal ones don't really start dying. It's all the non-body ethereal ones. And once the non-body ethereal ones start dying to these cavemen, we've just got a full rout of everybody who survived. So, like I said, it seems counterintuitive. But honestly, if we just had a bunch of body ethereal Bakemono and, no supplement of non-body ethereal Bakemono, then they would have been able to hold up against these cavemen. 75% of the time, they wouldn't have been able to hurt them because body ethereal. And then you'll see, even though it seems like we lost very handedly, a lot of these guys did take a lot of damage, down to less than half their health, and that's from our 15 damage two-hander weapons. But really, this HP route is what killed us here. Our defenders, we probably should not have brought. That was a mistake. We could even bring the Sage Priestess a little bit further forward so that we get more buffs off on these Bakemono. We could, if we really, really wanted to get cheesy with it and we had really good research, we could just create a two-man communion and have one really high caster doing some buffs on these guys. Or they could cast Cheap Fate, that'll help them fatigue out a little bit less fast. But in general, I think we just need that concentration of Body Ethereal Bakemono Show to hold the line. And that is that for that endless cavern fight. We've got two unexpected events. Few forces were cursed and misfortune increased, which isn't good to see, but the next one makes up for it tenfold. Got 1,560 gold. A great caravan from a distant land arrived in the province. Merchants from far and wide gathered, and there was much commerce, which is really great. That's a fort and a half for us, and honestly well worth just Misfortune 3 in one province. We've also got Worldwide Event. Conjuration rituals are cheaper. And we have a hero. Stories of Berrigan's brave deeds and extraordinary agility are told by bards and storytellers all over the world, which we'll go ahead and see what that does. The heroic ability, extraordinary agility, does a few things. It increases their attack and their defense just a little bit, and it also gives them ambidextrous, which means that they can wield two weapons and not get an attack penalty, according to their ambidextrous score. So this guy is shaping up to be a really, really solid defense thug. He's at 23 defense, and that's just going to increase as he stays in the Hall of Fame. He's also got ambidextrous, so we can equip him with like two frost brands or like a main Gosh of parrying and something else, and not be affected at all on his attack skill. And we can even just put some armor on his bird so it can survive. And this guy will be really high defense. Especially if we have just a bodyguard of two more bird knights, then all of the attacks will be divided against three very high defense units, and the harass penalty will go down. So this guy is shaping up. He'll be a fun thug once we get our construction online, and then we'll see what awaits us on this turn. We'll start out in the underground, like we were saying with this fight, which, it wasn't fruitless. We did kill about 20 of these cavemen. A lot of these other cavemen also gained injuries, and we brought about 88 troops. Again, we just brought a few too many Bakemono Show. We probably should have brought the defenders, but we still killed 20 of these cavemen, so there's only about 40 left, and we're attacking with another 50 or 40 Bakemono Show, so we should outnumber them slightly, which is good. We also, like I said, just have less troops. There's no defenders to soak up body ethereal casts either, so we should get a much better concentration of body ethereal in this front line, and that should be enough to take out this province. And even if we don't, you'll see that the Tianqi did not expand into the red mines, which means we've got a little bit longer on our clock to hem them in. We've got a bunch more of these Bakemono Show being recruited over here, along with another Sage Priest coming up. So if worst case scenario, the cavemen even kill all of our Sage Priests, we'll still have enough to try again. Because, as the age-old saying, when you're fucked, might as well try it again, because you can't get much more fucked. So we'll just keep doing that. The Endless Caverns will fall, and we'll be able to hem in Tianqi after that. Ideally, they never expand out of the Silver World, but we know that not everything is ideal in Dominions. And that is it for the Underground, except for we have an empowerment going on at the Bakemono Chief here in Yellow Caves. This makes our best blood hunting province that we currently have. It's a 9,210 population. It's got the laboratory that we want, and we'll go and bump up the PD up to 15 here just to get a little bit extra patrol strength, a little bit extra protection. But the reason we want this one more than the other ones, it's got less population. Usually you want to hover around like 6,000 population, because as you increase unrest, you decrease the income you get from that province. This actually has a great silver mine, which brings income. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's different. It doesn't get affected by unrest. But all of our other provinces are really high provinces. They're like 1,000, like 10,500, or 15,000 population in most of our other laboratory provinces. So this really is our best spot. And we can keep recruiting these Bakemono Chiefs, sending them down here to empower and blood hunt here. And we can even recruit a bunch of these Bakemono Show once the unrest gets high, and we can just patrol it down. This can be our siege and patrol chaff down here in the caves. And we have our diseased one waiting here in the Realm of Silence to pick up all of the Bakemono we're recruiting. On the mainland, on the overworld here, we're going to take a look at some of Ugard's forces, along with our force that took Perenna. They're still cowards. They have attacked us absolutely nowhere, because they are afraid of us. But we think we might be able to bait them. I think one of the reasons they didn't attack the Royal Green is that they saw a bunch of troops there, and, being the cowards they are, they didn't want to fight us man to man. So with it just being PD scouting reported to them, they will hopefully concentrate here in the Royal Green. We'll take Perenna here to defend, along with our great stack of PD, 30 PD, with a whole bunch of frontline, a whole bunch of crossbows. And, just what you saw we took Perenna with, we should be able to hand their asses to them if they try to attack us in the Royal Green. Another thing that they could do, you'll see they have a lot of troops. They have 60 in the capital, a few periphery forces, but they have a 120 stack, mostly Gamherdings here in Black Harbor. This is the stack we really need to think about. They could, instead of attacking us in the Royal Green, or, just holding up in their fort somewhere, they could actually take Perenna from us, since we're not putting anything here to defend. And if they take Perenna, we'll have all of our forces here in the Royal Green. We actually have a reinforcement of about 100 troops moving here to Ulfia. It's mostly crossbowmen, a little bit of defenders, a little bit of Bakulites. And then the other province that they also need to look at is Aldgold here in our palisade, which if they take Perenna, we could take both of our forces, the Royal Green and Ulfia, and we could attack Perenna and be able to take him out if we attack them together. But the only way that'll happen is if they're just standing there in Perenna. What's much more likely, they could attack us in the Royal Green, or they could attack us in Ulfia. If they attack either of those provinces, they're going to have more troops than us, so they'll be able to actually lock us in and attack us piecemeal. They won't be able to fight us with a combined force in Perenna. And especially if they attack us in Ulfia, they'll be able to take out these 100 troops. In the Royal Green, we'll still kill them, but we don't want to lose 100 troops and Ulfia at the same time. The other thing they could do, they could one-turn pop this palisade, and we don't have a lot of forces around here that can really kill them. But if they do attack Aldgold and we attack Perenna, we'll have our main stack right here, and we'll lock them on top of the palisade. We'll be able to mop them up. But ideally, everybody just walks over here to the Royal Green and gets killed, and then we can take Utgard next turn. With these reinforcements as well, if they do just stand around twiddling their giant thumbs, with this extra 100 troops, we can meet up in the Royal Green, and we'll be able to take the fight to them without taking much attrition, which is the main reason we haven't been attacking, is we don't want to lose a lot of forces, because then we won't have enough to siege Utgard, and then that campaign is just mute. In the Shade Forest, we're continuing to run upward with this raiding force up to Ironwood, Ban Kish, God's Two Mountains, pretty much as far as they can go until Utgard decides that they want to do something about it. We also have a lovely Prester King here, claiming the throne in the Range of Shadow, which will give us an extra 2 Astral Gems, a little bit of extra Dom's Dread, which is really nice. Our Dominion's actually very solid. I think we have some of the best Dom pressure in the game currently, just because we have so many temples. And then you'll see in Bara, Man has evacuated that big stack of forces, so we don't need to worry about it anymore. Next turn, we'll be able to hear back from them if they accept our nap. But for right now, we're just going to go and start our palisade here in Quinnen. That'll give us another place that we can just recruit troops and a base of power. It's also a very important choke point, so it's a good province to have. You also see a lot of the small lines that are running around here, like Kipis to Range of Shadow or Gaeta to this farm over down here. It's mostly just priests and sages that are running around to site search, because we're doing all of our site searching, and that's what most of these lines are doing. Which we're doing the same method we did last time of just checking everything in our national overview and seeing which provinces need a mage to search in. For recruitment, with our lovely capital, we're getting a whole bunch of these Bakulites because we have a crazy number of holy points that are just going to increase, a whole bunch of crossbowmen, a little bit more of our Prester Kings, and we also have our new fort here in Gaeta that we're going to do something interesting. We're getting these Sage Priests, and we're going to start recruiting Bird Knights. And then whenever we have a good mass of Bird Knights in this province, we're just going to stop recruitment of one of our Sage Priests, get a Bird Knight commander, and start flying around as a very active response force, and just something to help us siege down Utgard or take some independent provinces that nobody's really looked at yet. And then in Aldgold, we're continuing to increase it into a fortress, and we're getting a bunch of defenders along with these sages. After we get this sage, we're probably going to switch over to some of the Azure mages, just so we can expand underwater very easily. And, all of our provinces here are getting more of our sage priests, including the underground province we had, which is just, we're going to have more mages than anybody else in the game at this stage. So we're in a very solid position. There's not much else to talk about in the overworld. Our two bird knights here, we had one of them take all of the forces that we recruited in the capital. It's going to continue reinforcing up to the Haunted Wood. And this one is going to be running up here to Aldgold to take a lot of these defenders, the ones that we're recruiting here, and reinforcing in Perenna up through here, just concentrating all of our forces up to Utgard. Once they connect, we might even fly one of these bird knights over to Gaeta to lead our knights instead of recruiting a new one. And that's all that we need to cover, so let's see what happens next episode.